Welcome, everyone. So, if you're tuning into this explainer, it means you're already focused on leveling up how you interact with the world around you, right? Today, we're exploring something that is absolutely foundational, yet, honestly, it's incredibly misunderstood. I'm talking about active listening. It's literally the ultimate key to building stronger, way more authentic connections in every single area of your life. Okay, let's dive into this.
I want you to answer this honestly in your head right now. Are you truly hearing others, or are you kind of just waiting for your turn to talk? Look, we've all been there. You're nodding along with that blank stare while secretly drafting your grocery list or, mentally queuing up your next brilliantly crafted sentence. It's such a common illusion. We think we're communicating, but really, we're just talking completely past one another. And because of that, we end up missing the point entirely, and more importantly, we completely miss the connection. So, to fix this, we need a game plan. Here's our quick roadmap for today. 1. The listening illusion. 2. The cost of avoidance. 3. The active listening toolkit. And 4. The relationship payoff. Stick around because I'm going to give you some real, actionable life hacks to totally transform your personal and professional relationships. Let's get right to it. Section 1. The listening illusion. We often think communication is mostly about talking, but true connection actually requires deep listening. Active listening is without a doubt a relational superpower, but it takes serious undivided attention and absolute patience to understand another person's true motivations. Now, this isn't passive hearing. A lot of times we treat listening like waiting for a bus, right? We're just standing there idly until it's our turn to get on and drive the conversation. But passive hearing just means the sound washes right over you without leaving a mark. In fact, some of the research in our sources suggests that we retain an absolutely abysmal amount of what we passively hear, sometimes as little as 2%. 2%! I mean, no way, right? That is shockingly low. Active listening, on the other hand, is proactive. To really get a good read on someone, to figure out what actually drives them, you've got to intentionally deploy this superpower. You aren't just catching words, you're actively decoding the deeper meaning behind them. You're basically acting like a curious investigator, gathering the pieces of a puzzle rather than just letting all that noise bounce off of you. Moving on to Section 2, the cost of avoidance. Let's talk about the real relational damage and the steep price we pay when we dodge those difficult conversations. Avoiding difficult discussions is exactly like taking on a debt that has to be repaid with interest. And this brilliantly illustrates how unresolved conflict just grows way more burdensome over time. Think about how deeply true that is. Unresolved tension doesn't just, evaporate into thin air just because you ignored it. It compounds. It grows heavier. Day by day, week by week, that unspoken frustration just multiplies. By avoiding the hard work of listening and actually engaging, you are signing up to pay a massive emotional interest rate down the road. It creates this mounting, literally suffocating anxiety. It breeds these deep rifts in your personal life, and man, it turns professional relationships into walking through a total minefield. Simply put, the longer you put it off, the more expensive that inevitable confrontation becomes. All right, let's shift gears to the solution. Section 3, the active listening toolkit. It's time to build the architecture of attentive connection. This architecture of connection is built on 3 really foundational habits. 1, offer undivided attention. 2, provide mental space. 3, ask clarifying questions. Notice how these steps literally demand that you consciously quiet your own mind. It takes immense patience to focus entirely on another human being without instantly jumping ahead to formulate your own response. You have to actively choose to make the other person the center of your universe for that specific moment in time. Let's dig a little deeper into that second point, providing mental space. You must provide enough space for people to truly reveal themselves to you. Think about how awkward silence can feel for most of us. I mean, 5 seconds of quiet in a conversation can feel like an absolute eternity, right? Our immediate instinct is to rush in and just fill that empty void with words, or our own opinions, or totally change the subject. But you have to resist that urge. Actually, scratch that. You have to completely train yourself out of that urge. Often people do not say what they truly mean in their very first sentence. They're kind of testing the waters. They need a beat of silence to gather their thoughts. By embracing that awkwardness, by providing that gap and remaining completely focused without interrupting, that is exactly where the truth slips out. You give them the psychological safety to express themselves fully. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the simple comparison. Do you want to vent or do you want advice?
Have you ever had someone, maybe a partner or a coworker, come to you incredibly upset about their day, and you immediately start rattling off all these practical solutions, only to watch them get even more frustrated? Yeah, it happens all the time. And that's because you didn't establish the framework of the conversation first. Asking this one simple, clarifying question prevents you from forcing unwanted advice on someone who just desperately needs emotional support. Honestly, it is a massive life hack for your daily interactions. It completely diffuses tension because it tells the other person, hey, I am here for exactly what you need right now, not what I assume you need.
Which brings us to section 4, the relationship payoff. Let's look at the ultimate rewards of applying these simple shifts to your everyday interactions. The results of active listening, they're truly transformative. It resolves conflict peacefully, it builds mutual trust, and it makes people feel genuinely valued and heard. Picture a really tense workplace meeting, okay? Someone comes in completely fired up about a project failure. Instead of matching their defensive energy, you deploy your active listening toolkit. You give them space, you ask if they just need to vent or if they're looking for tactical advice. Boom! Suddenly the entire temperature in the room drops. Because you aren't talking past one another and letting that emotional debt compound, you actually get to the root of the issue. You build deep mutual trust. Think about how incredibly validating it feels when someone gives you their absolute, undivided attention. It's the best feeling. By making this small behavioral shift, you guarantee that the people in your life feel understood and respected. It strengthens every single connection you have. So, I'll leave you with this. Who will you truly listen to today? Think about your very next conversation. Are you just going to wait for your turn to speak, or are you going to deploy your new superpower? Well, the choice is yours. Thank you so much for exploring this with me today. Keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.